What up, G's? Hey, what up, G's? Today, we're gonna talk about the retro system that I'm trying to build. First, let's just chillax and see what's going on in the news and talk about a little bit about the computer industry. Where is it going to? What's the next phase, man? Did we hit rock end? Did we hit the top of the market already on the video cards, on the CPUs? What's next? Extra says that there's still a lot of extensions. There's a 100 different ways of connecting CPUs, GPUs, and we're there. I mean, in the point where it's going to take off, but a lot of things companies hold to for their growth. For example, Intel and AMD, they hold out the best equipment. But of course, that's not for us. It's pretty much for either military or some other public places. But CPUs are not going to be as fast as you want them to be, but until we get the quantum leap, they said, and in order to do that, to progress, proceed with that, you need a cooling system. Without the cooling systems, there's not going to be a next phase of it. So sure, we have water cooling these days, and we have different kinds of fans, quiet fans, and all sorts of things. But today, we're just going to talk about one chip, and we're going to talk about the retro PC build that we're going to bring in. And it's something that I've been working hard to set up, and I actually started building from scratch. These hands are going to make it from scratch. So the more loving you do, put your work to it, the better it's going to be. It's one of those things I think that if I continue to build these things, I get better, and I built myself tools. I built myself a good position to make the next gaming system. I think this year I topped it off with that the i9 build that I did, and with the two 1080 Ti's. I would have done a lot more. I mean, if it was my computer, I put it pretty much set up a water cooling system, and run with it. But because it was in my system and we didn't want to make it too fancy, we ended up just putting the minimum, darked out everything. So in case they get broken into or something happens, they don't take the computer. It just stays there. They think it's a basic computer. So I could understand that. The only thing that I couldn't avoid was the actual big old lights from NVIDIA 1080 Ti. It was popping out. It was there. It was one of those things that I couldn't avoid. Hey, welcome guys to the show, man. Thank you guys for watching, man. Today we're just gonna talk about the build. We're gonna talk about a couple things that arrive, and I got a little surprise too to check it out. So I've been telling you guys that I'm making this gaming mouse of the year, and to be honest with you, I think I got them all, with exception of one, to be honest with you. And I didn't like that one because it was too expensive, and I'm trying to keep it under the $100 builds, because gaming mouse just got out of control. Very ridiculous. Even controllers too, gamepads. I mean, when I saw these gamepads at E3, there were more than a freaking Xbox and a PlayStation. I mean, we're talking about $250 for a gamepad, and of course you could customize it, you could do all sorts of crap, but you know what, it's something that you can do on any controller. And then Xbox pulls out this other thing when they came out with their Xbox controller, thinking that, hey, it's very fancy, very expensive. It's just out of hand. When is it gonna stop? Well, the thing is, we open the door, we open the Pandora box. Us as customers, we buy shit like that, and they say, hey, this sucker bought it, man, we could sell him more crap. So in reality, there's no ending for that. It's an open market. It started out with, hey, I bought you an Xbox. Bam, the Xbox is there. What can we add to it? And clever people came out, hey, I'm gonna print out a better joystick that fits your hand, or certain things. I mean, people find ways to do things. In fact, for example, I'm going to give you an example if I have it here. I'm trying to find it here, but I kind of doubt I have it. Oh yeah, like for example, people are like, oh, you know, my wrist, you know, and people mold shit like this. This is a freaking a mouse. I talked about it in one of my ring, but look at this. It kind of it's a perfect fit for like a mouse, like a trigger kind of thing. You know, it's pretty neat. You know, and things like that are built. Companies like that are built, and of course, today we're not going to talk about other companies. We're going to talk about this company here, and why I went with an AMD. You know, AMD, for example, this is an AMD chip. This was $100. You know, it was under $100, I believe. It's a CPU. It's a 3 point. I think it was 3 point. Let me read you. It's 4 cores. All right, 3.7 to 3.5 boost. You know, which boost base. That's what it is. All right, that's what it says pretty much. I don't know what the hell that means, but look it up. AMD Ryzen 3 2200. Well, the only reason I went this cheap because this computer was. It's close to under the $500 mark. I mean, I'm there right now. I still need to buy the fan, and they should be arriving maybe tomorrow or sometime this week. But I'm planning to have this built on the weekend and maybe even do a live streaming on the build. But today I'm just going to show you all this new stuff that just arrived today that we're going to add to this. And of course, you guys seen the motherboard already. I like to show it off a lot, right? Forgive me. The only reason I went to this motherboard is because it's really small, and I don't wanna. I wanna heat wise. I want to make sure that it cools off into the system. I'm not even gonna put a GPU in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it as a little tiny little box. I'm built in myself too. I'm doing from these plastics. I have these pieces I bought, and I'm actually cutting them through and having a box so like a little square box pretty much. Of course, there's gonna be a lot of air floating through it, and on top of it, I'm gonna cut a hole right over it, and for example, it's pretending this is the box. This is the actual size of the box I'm doing it, and it's all gonna be under plastics, of course, you know. And the only reason is I want to make sure it's tolerant to certain heats, so I gotta make sure that it's something I'm gonna have. You know, if not, I'm gonna have to start from scratch or go somewhere else. You know, it's just. Right now, the first thing I'm going to do is build the machine. And I might use another tower I have here. I have a couple of towers here that are not... They're not good towers, you know. I even went to the store and tried to find me some good stuff. But I'm not happy with the stuff that's out there, you know. It's just... They're not made for me. The Corsairs are too monstrosity. They're too heavy. I was looking for something small. I did find something. It was $43, but... I mean, the smaller they are, the more expensive they get these days. And I'm like, is it even worth it sometimes, you know, spending the money? So what I'm going to do today, I'm just going to show you exactly what's going to go in here. We're not going to do the build today. We're just going to talk about the items that are going to go in here, right? So first of all, this is the motherboard. I already talked about it a couple of times yesterday, day before. I brought this up because I'm bringing all these things to you guys so you guys can know exactly what's coming in here. And I'm looking for one more last part I had in my hand here a couple of minutes ago, but we'll continue on without it. And as soon as I find it, I will bring it. So on the motherboard itself, you guys are familiar with Gigabyte, very good company. They make good motherboards. You know, they team up with other companies. You know, they team up with MSI. They team up with different manufacturers. You know, and pretty much when they make these motherboards, they piece together. It's like a Vizio. If you guys know Vizio TVs, the way they started the company, they used to buy parts from multiple vendors, you know. In fact, I had a TV that used to be parts from Sony, parts from Mitsubishi, parts from, you know, Panasonic. It's different, and they put it together and they built it here in America. They pretty much built the parts, and now these days I don't know how it's built. So that was before they started. So, and that was to save money. And it was cheaper to actually buy parts from different vendors and put it together here in America. And they became Vizio, a bigger company. And I don't know how they produce their TVs now, but before that was the way they used to. The same way with manufacturers, they team up with a lot of motherboards or different vendors that have different systems. For example, this one has pieces from maybe all sorts of companies that in all sorts of parts of the world. It's not made in China, but it is put together in China. Now the parts might be ship into there from Indonesia. I mean, India has a lot of pieces of that people don't understand that their motherboards have. Japan even has some input in here. In fact, some of the Japanese manufacturers are mostly the wireless devices, because they do a lot of chips with the wireless systems. They do, I mean, it's just all over the world. You could just trace all these things everywhere. I don't have all the facts of all the companies, you know, but from time to time, you want to play the stock market. You want to know who's out there, who's doing what. You want to get on top of that stuff, you know, because it's like people are asking me, how do you do Bitcoins? You know what? If you're asking that question, it's too late for you to get into the market. That's why I say, you know, there's all these scam artists doing these Bitcoin things. So be careful out there, you know, and thank God that, you know, some of us are very knowledgeable of certain things and some are not. But I hope that you guys actually spread your goodness of helping other people, you know, not get gypped, you know, of certain scams, certain cons. You know, it's just make sure that you're aware of what you're buying. I'll tell you a story, and this is a true story. It happened a couple of years ago on a Christmas. One of my buddies, he called me panicking. He's like, hey, man, get over here. Get your ass over here, man. There's this guy, he just came up to me, and he's selling me an iPad, and I bought one. And if you want to buy one, he's selling you another one. And I was like, for how much? Oh, it was like 150 or 200 bucks. And I go, what? That's freaking cheap. They're probably stolen or something. No. What happened was that they did this. They had an iPad. They show you the iPad, and they says, "Oh, here's an iPad. You know what? Buy it here. Give me 200 bucks, and I'll give it to you." And they have all these boxes, all these iPads. All right. And next thing you know, he goes, "You know what? Here, take a brand new one out of the here. Take a brand new one." And it feels heavy and everything. And the guy, you know, ends up thinking that he got a good deal. And he gets home, he opens it up. It's a freaking brick. There's nothing in there. So it turns out there was a con going on, and this happened a lot. And a lot of these places were like in like in the hood, you know. They know where to attack, and people, they see some dumb Joe, and they say, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Let's get this guy a sucker in. So be careful what you do and what you buy, and always test the stuff out. I mean, it's very difficult when you buy a motherboard and a CPU. How do you test things out? The only way you could test it out is that you put it together. That's it. Now, if you put it together and it doesn't turn on, you got to start breaking pieces off. What happened? And that's the most difficult part. Even myself, I have problems sometimes, you know, figuring out, hey, do I have it significant enough power to go into the CPU and the GPU, or is it the CPU that's messed up? So you got to be careful, and sometimes you got to mess around with it. In a lot of ways, I do have a couple motherboards here that I interchange, but this stuff is not compatible with a lot of stuff I have. I don't have a lot of AMDs in hand. That's why I was hesitant. I do have one AMD that I did review. It was a Dell machine that I have. It's a beast. That sucker is a badass machine. But today we're not talking about that machine. We're talking about this. So this is the motherboard. I'm going to continue. If you guys haven't been here and want to see something, a computer under 500 bucks, a decent computer, right? I'm not going to say it's a top of the line, because it's not. But this one will get you at least to the next level of gaming, you know. But the only thing, if you want to get to the next level of gaming, you have to spend the money. Hold on. My dog just came in. What's up, Jax? What you want, ugly? Come here. What you want, huh? What? Timmy fell off the well again? Oh my God, Lassie, go get him. All right, go to the hood. This is a hood dog, man. He knows what to do. He's watching he's telling me that something's happening out there. Some tranzas happening. Anyways, let's get back to business, man. Let's talk about this gaming. Now, I don't recommend this gaming system to be like, I don't think it's going to be capable of handling the next level of games, you know. This is just a basic download, like a really like right mid-level gaming system. If you want to take it a little higher, notch higher, you will probably have to add a video card on it, right? I'm not adding a video card. I'm going with the video card that it has built in here, because they say it's capable of handling. There's 2 gigs of built-in video card in this. It's the motherboard. I was lucky to get the last one in the store, because I was going to order it and it's going to take maybe a couple weeks to get here, but it got here. I ended up walking to the store and buying it. Now, I was a little hesitant because I did find some things that were open in here, and I'm kind of thinking maybe somebody messed around with it, maybe it warned the warranty. So I have a receipt in here. So you guys seen the motherboard already. I'm going to show it to you guys what's going to happen in here. And I'm not going to review it today because we did that already. But It's a gaming system. It's supposed to. They put all this gaming crap everywhere. Oh, gaming for this, gaming for that, gaming. But what they don't tell you is that you really need the next level stuff to be gaming. You need the memory. You need significant in memory. You know, at least 8 gigs or higher. 8 to 16 gigs. I would be hesitant of getting the 8. You know, sometimes. But if you can't afford it, get the 8 gigs. All right. Video card. You know, this is a problem with this motherboard. If you're gonna buy something like this for you, look how small it is and tiny. The video card hangs high and it's heavier than the actual motherboard, so it could detach from it. So before you even put it on, it has to be mounted on. All right. Be careful about that part. It's so tiny because I wanted to make a. It's gonna be as small as this box, to be honest with you, when I finish the build. It has a wireless devices and everything. I mean, this thing is souped up for the size of it. It's a really souped up size of a motherboard, and that's why I was very impressed with the whole factor that it came together. Now, one thing I was really liking it's like that all the motherboards are coming out with the M.2 slot in the back. You know, it keeps it away from all the heat in the front. You know, also the one thing that I was in fact, you know what? Let's do that right now. Let's set up the we're gonna set up. You guys are in luck. We're gonna set up. Let's do that. Let's do that. I don't want to damage the motherboard, so I'm going to keep the motherboard on this padding for now so you guys can see. We're going to set up the hard drive. Why don't we just do that? See, this is what I'm going to do. I recommend everybody, if you're going to run and want to boot up fast the CPU and boot up your Windows, get a good hard drive, because a good hard drive will give you good performance.
Lone
right?
Star, hello.
Hey, what's up, Lone Star? Welcome to the show, man. How you doing, man? So today we're just gonna add the M.2 here. We're not gonna put the CPU on it today, but I'm gonna open it up and see what you guys get on the CPU. But today we're gonna continue on with the build and a retro build. I don't even know what to call it. You know, it's pretty much gonna have a lot of games in here. You know, when people come over, I'm actually have an arcade system. You could come in there, and I'm not gonna put any quarter machine or anything like that. I was gonna build something like that, but it just takes too much time. So today I'm just gonna do the basic. And I'm going to continue with the build. And as soon as parts start coming in, I'll keep adding. And today you guys are in luck that I have 2 items here we're going to talk about, and a little surprise that I'm going to talk about. So first of all, oh shit, it's okay. These are not fragile. This is an M.2. All right, you guys know this one's going to be about. Let me see how many gigs we're going to put in here. This is I think is 256 gigs. It's not bad. It's inexpensive, cheap. You know, you can find these anywhere now these days. M.2s are very popular for gaming, especially. You know, now this is gonna be my boot up OS. OS is gonna boot up from here, of course. The hard drive is gonna contain all the games. You know, and I have a 2 terabyte. I don't even know where I left my 2 terabyte hard drive. I had a 2 terabyte hard drive right here, and I don't even know where I left it, to be honest with you. Oh. Well, this is not the 2 terabyte, but this is a solid state hard drive.
Base call, yo.
Yo, what's up, Base call?
Profit.
What up, Base call?
Channel's looming good.
Oh man, thank you, man. Thank you, brother. So this M.2 is gonna be the OS that's gonna boot up the whole system on this motherboard. This is a nice little neat motherboard, you know, that I purchased the other day. Of course, it was 110, 100 something, but
Base call. What M.2 do you recommend?
M.2. Size? You want to talk about sizes, or you want to talk about? Oh yeah, and thanks to Base Call, he gave me that 2 terabyte hard drive that we're gonna put in here. Hey, Base Call, thank you, brother, for giving me that 2 terabyte hard drive, and he's giving away free terabytes. Not just kidding, I'm just messing with you. But he was actually sponsoring the 2 terabyte hard drive. I appreciate that, brother. That's gonna go into the system. Size wise, this is not going to be, I don't want to spend too much money. So I got this cheap, inexpensive 256 gigs hard drive in here. And this is not the...
Base call. What brand do you like better?
Oh, I like Samsung. I'm all Samsung. Dude, let me tell you about why I like Samsung so much. So I'm a Samsung guy, dude. I freaking love Samsung, because they have one of the best tools to transfer your hard drive over to the next hard drive. So if you buy a Samsung hard drive, M.2, especially if you buy something like this, an M.2, and you go into the website and you go to the tools of the migration tools, it will migrate no matter if you have a UIEF installed, which is the security system, it will bypass that and copy exactly over your documents, your OS, and everything into the hard drive. The only backslash of that will be that your hard drive that you just purchased has to be bigger than the original one. It cannot be the same size. It'll tell you right there it needs an extra space, extra cushion. Now, on top of that migration tool that they give you, it automatically regenerates the rest of the space. You know, sometimes when you do a migration and you have more space than what you have on the system, it won't show up until you have to go into computer management, disk management, and you have to change it there, you know. Well, in this case, when you use the software that I just used, I just transferred my Omen. That's what I'm telling you. I transferred my Omen. I upgraded from 500 to the 1 terabyte M.2 using the Samsung migration tool. It was no problem. Now, there's a problem here too. This is it, all right? And I'm gonna tell you this. Some of these motherboards don't come with 2 slots for M.2, all right? So you have a lot of problems with transferring from here to another one. So I recommend you guys getting something like this. I call it a card condom, you know. Let's get our own, you know, something like this. This is how I actually transfer my existing. This is the old one, all right? I just put it in here. This is a 512 gigs hard drive that I have M.2. So what happened was I put my 1 terabyte in here. I set it up on the slot, which this one, you can't do this one right here because it doesn't have an extra slot in here. But on the, oh yeah, you know what? Let me do it on the, I'll demonstrate you guys. It's even better. It's easier if I do a visualization of the whole thing. So let's put in this old motherboard. This motherboard's not old, but it's really good. So basically what you want to do is you have a M.2. Oh yeah, let's open it up right now. Let's put it in here. So this, pretending this is my OS in here, right? And I'm gonna put it in here. All right, my OS is sitting in here. I'm not gonna lock it in. And what happened was I didn't have another slot to transfer this to. So I end up purchasing this. There's other ways you can do it. Let me show you a couple other ones. I have other extensions, but oh yeah, you could actually buy a hard drive that's built in with the M.2 slots too, and you could transfer in there. Well, this is a little slower than this. This is actually, I was very impressed with this part. So what I end up doing is I put in the PCI card in here. You know, I put in the slot in here, and I end up and when I put in the Samsung software, it recognized the new hard drive, saying even though this is not Samsung, it recognized this one. It says, do you want to start migration tool? It was simple. I'm gonna do an actual, if you guys want me to do a little video on it, I would have to wipe my whole hard drive and just start from scratch, but I'm not gonna do that for you. But I will show you the steps on how to do it. So what happened was it transferred the OS over to this slot, and this was configured automatically. When you install it and you set it up first time, it asks you how do you want to set up your this thing. Do you want to make it a default? You know, it asks you what kind of hard drive you're setting up. You set up a ladder and boom, ready to go. Then the Samsung software that you download at the Samsung site, I'm not trying to promote Samsung, but their tool is really simple, really easy to use compared to the Western Digital. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Western Digital. I'm glad Basecop brought that up. He got a great subject on that. So what happened was when you transfer the OS to here, it was instantly. It took maybe half an hour to transfer 500 gigs to 1 terabyte. As soon as that was done, I shut the whole system down. I took the card out. I took the slot out and I replaced the card. And guess what? It turned on. I didn't even have to disable the security and BIOS. Everything was cloned exactly, encrypted by encryption, was cloned exactly the same way using the migration tool of Samsung. Now, I'm going to tell you the difference between the Western Digital and a Samsung. Now, what the Western Digital hard drive transfer migration tool, it is totally different. They're using a third party, Accordius, this called, or Accordius or something like that. Now, if you're not familiar with the software, there's a lot of boot up sequences. It takes a long time, and it's just creating an image and transferring the image over. It is a pain in the ass, you know. It is much difficult. So if you ever want to buy a hard drive for an M.2, I highly recommend you guys getting a Samsung because of the migration tools they have. It's very simple, very easy to use. And now that you brought that up, I am going to make a video on it. That's a good idea. People don't know and want to do stuff. I'll put 2 different ways. One migration tool, the Western Digital, and then the other one. So a lot of people buy the software. You don't have to buy the software. It's totally free to download it. You download it, you install it, and you transfer the stuff. Very simple to do. Now, let's go back to what we were doing right now. I'm glad Basecall brought that up. Good question, Basecall, on that one. You know, And this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna install the hard drive in here. And like I said, I've done this many times in hundreds of different times. Now, one thing I'll let you know, these screws here are actually movable. So if you have a smaller hard drive, because they make different size, they make the 8mm one, the 9mm, the 8, 6, and 4, I believe. They have different sizes of these M.2s, all right? The older versions are really small, you know, and they have these slots, these 2 slots right here, that you can actually remove the whole screw and screw it in here. Now, on top of it, there is a little screw in here, just on the top of the base of it, all right? You got to remove this. Be careful not to lose these. Somebody, one of my viewers asked me if I had extra ones, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have extra ones. These are, they sell them in Amazon. I guess people lose them all the time. I'm going to leave it here so you guys can see it. And remember I told you about the tools? Make sure you have a good tool, a magnet tool. Look at this, you know, magnetize this tool, because I was struggling with, if you don't have something like that, like, you know, a magnet tool, you're going to struggle sending this thing back into its place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this 225 gigs hard drive M.2 in the slot that it belongs to. So let's go ahead and do that right now. And the way it works, see, there's a little couple of chips in here. And now there's a different ways of different M.2s. There's one, the older versions have 2 slits on them, all right? So be careful when you buy a motherboard. Find out from in front of the cover, it gives you all the details of what's the format. In fact, let me bring in that box in here, and it tells you kind of what kind of hard drive it needs in here. And it says, let me see, Shanghua Changwi, Shanghu Shang. It's in Chinese. Hold on. And this one's in Korea. Oh, shoot. Oh, motherfucker. Nah, just kidding. I don't know shit about that, man. Let's just go ahead and put this on, man. So we're going to put this slot in here, all right? We'll put it in there. See how it's supposed to be? Like, just like that angle? And you don't have to push it in any further, but you do have to make sure that that copper part of it, let me see if I could bring it in a little closer. Right there. Oh, this is out of focus. There's a little part of copper, the first front. It's not actually copper. This is gold right there. It's encoded in gold here. Make sure that's not visible, right? And there's no clicking in or anything like that. It's pretty much, it's just a rest in. It's like putting something in, you know where, all right? I'm not gonna say nothing. This is a family channel, you sicko. See, as soon as that base call guy gets on, man, I start talking sick stuff, man. That pervert. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and set this up. So once it's in there, because it's a little flimsy, you know, you'll see this coming down in and out, you know. Hey, let's get it on. All right. Anyways, there's no contact with the motherboard. If there is a contact with the motherboard, you're gonna have to get some risers, some little extra screws to even put it a little higher. It cannot do any contact with the motherboard. That's very dangerous. You know, I'm not saying that something could go wrong, but if it overheats with the motherboard, so is the hard drive's gonna heat. You know, so avoid the contact. And if you don't have that, there's something wrong with you, not the computer. Anyways, if you guys see it, it's going to be hidden away from anything. And just to let you guys know, there is another slot for an M.2. It's right here. It's right here if you see it. And that means that you could bring another one and stand it up. But it's kind of awkward, as it's like a Viagra. It doesn't ever go down, you know, if you know what I mean. I don't take Viagra, but I'm just saying, you know, maybe that's how it is. You put in the drive and it just sticks up, and it's like this high. So it doesn't even make sense. Now this slot is being utilized by the actual wireless device. So in fact, you know, that's one thing you could do on these. You could always replace this and for a higher version, the next version or the next future one. But they might not be the same slots. They might be a totally different slot. We don't know what it's going to go to, you know. So these are replaceable, but sometimes they have issues where they're not meant to work with this motherboard. So consult your manual before you do any kind of changes like that. If it ever fails on you, you can always replace the part with the same part. They do sell them on Amazon, eBay, even at the website you could go and replace parts. So I guess if you ever run into any kind of issues with it. So that was one part of it, creating this, adding the hard drive. 256 is not a lot, but it is enough for it to boot up my hard drive, you know. And like I said, I have a 2 terabyte hard drive in here somewhere in my mess. I have a 256 hard drive in here. All right, let's move on to the next thing. If you guys want to see, I'm bringing all the good stuff right now, the good toys, man, so you guys can know. So I'm gonna put this on the side. Now, you can say, hey, man, how are we gonna power this sucker? You know, if you guys ever seen the power supplies, they're as big as this box, right? They're as big as this box. Look at this. Crazy, huh? This is how big it is. All right, the box is the power supply. It's like this big, right? Well, not today. Today we got something. So we don't have a lot of power to it because we're not gonna put a GPU. We're just gonna put a CPU, a fan, and a hard drive, and that's it. Not enough power. No, there's not gonna be no CD player, no lighting, no anything. Just the basic. So we bought this. We move this to the side. If you guys are not familiar, this is 150 watts power supply. Look how small it is. I was like, what? This is pretty awesome stuff. You know? Let me open it up. Let me get my blade in here. I had my blade somewhere in here. Hey, how did I put my blade? Well, I'll just cut a hole. This is 150 watts power supply. Now, I bought this for two reasons, all right? There's two reasons I bought this thing. Either you go independently power up your GPU just by itself. That's just the GPU. Some GPUs, like the newest ones, they tend to take even higher watts voltages, so you might not work. But this is just gonna power the fan and the hard drive, and that's it. And this is pretty much in the motherboard. That's all I'm gonna be powering up. Now, believe it or not, this is 150 watts in here, pure power. Now, when you purchase this, you got to purchase it in two pieces. This comes together. This is one piece completely together. Now, this piece here, it generates the power for the actual motherboard. It goes in here, in this part here. Let me see if I could just plug it in for you guys, you know. Make sure I am in this. If you guys were kids, and of course you're all kids, and you just got to make sure you follow the pieces, the puzzle pieces, you know, triangle and triangle, square and square. Make sure you don't screw that up, right? So we plug in that part of it. Now, they don't give you too much options here. If you guys see that, you know, they give you a power for a power for the actual hard drive or CD player, whatever you're gonna power, and then they give you additional older power and a GPU power. You know, there's only one GPU power, which is not enough. That's why it's only 150 watts, and we're not gonna need extra power because the hard drive that we're doing, it's just pretty much gonna power this stuff, you know. And like I said, once you plug this sucker in, you just follow the pieces here. You plug them in. Let's see if I can't even see it from here. I'm blind as a bat. Here it goes. So I'm gonna put it on this camera on the side. See it? And it goes in there, and it fits in perfectly. Now that's 150 watts power, and that's all you get when you purchase it. Don't get me wrong. Don't just purchase this. You need to purchase much more than this. So besides this, you need to power this sucker. But right now, it could contain 150 watts. You need to buy the additional power cord, all right? And this is made from Chaizen, made in China, Chaizen, all right? Pretty much all the products that we have are made in China. But you know what? They're good products sometimes. They don't burn the house down. They burn your garages down. So let's go ahead and not power it up today, but the reason is I got this one because it has multi-function, so I could use this power supply not just for this thing but other items. And let's open it up here. See, and it's a small, so the impact of this is going to be real tiny. The footprint's going to be tiny on this system. It's not going to be a big monstrosity machine. And I'm going to hide all these cables. If I don't need them, I'm going to cut them away and I'm going to cap them. That's what I'm going to do. So in reality, you don't have to use all these cables. You don't need all these cables. This is an overkill. If you're not going to need them, you could just cut them up and cap them, and then make sure you do it properly, right? Because if you don't do it properly, you might do a short. So if you're not familiar with it, just leave it alone, all right? Now, the power supply itself that I purchased has different heads, all right? And there's two different ones that I actually purchased. See, it comes with these two and the current one that it has right now. Now, these are all extensions for it. And the reason I like about this one, you could actually tie in some power cables. Just cut the cables and plug it in directly to it, the system. But this is going to expose more of the cable. You don't want to do that. You might get electrified, or you might be around the places that it's a little moisture or something. So don't take your chances unless you're familiar with that stuff. You know, one thing, I have a phobia of electricity like this. You know, me, and I work in electricity stuff like this. I do have a phobia. I just don't like it. In fact, when my car runs out of batteries, I don't even want to touch the damn battery, man. And I'll tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a good funny story. So when I was a kid, well, not long ago, you know, I was going to college and I had a car, and it was a Toyota Corona. It was called the Corona, Toyota Corona. It's not a freaking Corolla. It's a Corona. That means it's an imitation of the Corolla, you know? It was a piece of shit car that I had. It had different parts from different items, and red door, a black hood, another. I forgot the colors I had, but we call it the Silver Bullet. And that car, man, it needed everything. It needed oil change. It needed batteries. It needed all sorts of shit, you know? In fact, let me tell you, I was driving that freaking car, and it was raining hard, and the wipers weren't working. They were like struggling. They were like moving left to right, and I was like, ah, shit. I got a rag out, and I started going like this over the car, and when I was doing that, one of the wipers broke. It just fucking fell, and it was like, oh shit. I ended up getting the stick, taping it up once in a while, you know, passing it through. It was the funniest shit that ever happened to me on that shit. But that was not all. So on the same car, I didn't have a gas cap. I had a rag in there. It was like a freaking, you could just turn it on and run out of it. You know, it was, I bought that car for like $100, $200 or something like that. There was no air conditioner on the car. There was no lifts for the actual windows. I had a plier, a set of pliers that you had to actually hook on and just twist it. And you go here. Imagine me on a day. I'll tell you how I went. So you pretty much, that's how you have to lift your windows, you know. And the car was so fucked up. I guess it got into a couple accidents. That's why it had all these different hoods and all that stuff. That the lights didn't work. And the only way you could do it is like you had to directly plug in the actual lights to the battery. And I had this O.J. Simpson glove. I called it the O.J. Simpson glove because I was fucking fearsome. Because every time I did, it used to spark. And I was like, oh my God, oh Lord Jesus. You know, just to get all scared. So I used to plug it in. And the rule was, nobody had a car that much. I was the only one that was driving in my hood. And the rule was, whoever gets shotgun gets to turn on the car. So guess what? Nobody wanted to go on shotgun, you know. And this car was all jacked up that the wheels used to move like this. And the lipo was hanging, dude. The lipo was hanging. One of the lipos was hanging. So if I'm behind you, you're like, fuck, there's a drunk motorcycle right behind me, because that shit kept hanging. It was the funniest shit I ever had, man. The car was moving like this. You get off the car, you walk like this. What's up, homie? What's up, homie? Because the car's balance, it was all jacked up. But you know what? That was the good old days. That car lasted me forever, man. I mean, forever. Obviously. That car was like those cars that you never forget. We talk about it so much now because this is when we were kids, we're broke, we're poor. You know, one of those things that what you couldn't afford, you had to buy. And I'm pretty sure that car was like in its last legs, but it got me from A to B, you know. And gas was cheap. I remember I used to fill that shit up for $5, man. I was up and down the whole hood. I was driving around, and when I went to parties, I was strong feet, man. I used to park like 20 blocks away so nobody can see me park, you know. And if a girl wanted to go with me, I was like, yeah, I'll meet you over there, girls. Because forget this shit. I don't want nobody to see me there. You know, it was funny shit that happened. Anyways, so 150 watts in here. See, you guys, fuck, I lost track of everything. So power adapter, it's already set. As you can see, this is not the right adapter. You see that? It's not the right adapter. Plug it in. Bam! Your 150 watts. And of course, you plug this in. 150 watts. But just to make sure that if you're ever going to test your power, just your power by itself, there's a way you can do it. There's a trick, all right? And don't try this at home. One of the pins has to be blocked out, and you can block it out with the other one. People do it with paper clips. Don't guarantee you doing that shit, you know, use the same cables, maybe purchase some cable and do it with the cable itself, because paper clips, that means it's active as you do it. So you can do that just to test out the power supply. I don't do that shit. I'm not recommending you guys to do that. Don't do it. Anyways, let's move on to the next part of the build that we're not going to do it today. We're just going to put it together and see what we have involved here, all the items. And then we're going to bring that secret little thing I have in here. So right now, you guys saw me put the M.2 hard drive in here. I'm going to put it back in here because we're going to continue with the build. In fact, I do want to put the OS on here prior to you guys coming in and me setting it up, but it's not going to be possible. So we'll do the build and then I'll do the OS offline. So let's talk about the CPU. All right. Now the CPU itself, it's inexpensive. It's not an Intel. It's a 4-core. You're not going to get the 8-core, the i9 or anything like that. But like I said, it's a basic CPU. You know, it's 3.5, which is really good compared to the market right now. And for under $100, you buy something like this. Let me show you how it is. And I'm gonna try not to get the whole thing out, but I'll tell you what you get in here. Look at this. They send you the freaking, I think they send you this is the actual CPU. This is the actual CPU. I thought it was going to be in here, you know, in this big old box. I wonder what's in here. The hell do they? Oh, no. These guys gave me, even double whammy. You know what? Saves me some money. So you know what this is? This is actually the fan. They gave it to me in here, included. It wasn't even in the details there. It came with the fan. I'm actually stoked that it is the fan, because that means I don't have to wait for it. I can start the build. So, hey man, thank you guys. Thank you for following, man. Oh, too legit to quit. What's going on, man? How you doing, man? Thank you, brother. Hey man, thank you, man. Thank you for the donation too, man. So this is a plus. When I saw that, I was so soaked, man. I'm thrilled at this. I thought the box was gonna hold this whole damn CPU. Now this is gonna save me a lot of trouble and time and money of purchasing that stuff, which is great. Now, just to let you guys know, and I'm not gonna do what the Verge did, all right, and mislead you guys with some information that you don't know. You don't have to put the thermal paste on this system, right? There's already thermal paste on here, right? Just make sure that you don't do the same thing. You don't put a lot of freaking thermal paste in, and if you are, remove the existing one. You know, you don't. There's different companies, different heat levels that they could tolerate. Just make sure that you do that, all right? But this one comes with it. Oh my, I am soaked, because I'll tell you this. I was gonna buy this one for $32. This one for $32. Exact same size, same profile and everything. Other than the fan is a little larger. But you know what? I am thrilled that it came with it, because that means I could build this computer ASAP. I don't have to wait for one more part. I was still looking at what to buy and what to order and get it done this week, but I'm going to use this one. This is a great buy. I mean, and it came with the CPU. Hold on. Jax, come here, Jax. 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 Oh, sorry, my dog's getting all crazy. There's some homie dog coming. Hey, get your butt over here. He's fighting with the neighbor's dog. Hey, sit your ass down right there where I can see you. All right. All right, anyways. He's a hood dog, I'm telling you, man. All right, there he is. He's sitting there. So, this is a plus for me. I'm actually soaked that it came with it. I thought, you know, I seen these boxes, and they give you a big old plastic container, and it's just a damn CPU. And let's open it up, you know, without touching the pins. But actually, there's no pins no more. They have these little I don't know what they call them, but they're little tiny little balls now. Yeah, don't get excited. But they don't have pins. You know, if you guys see it in there, I'm not gonna open it up. But let me show you something. Let me bring it up here so you guys, I could show you a little demo of something before and after. I got a lot of items in here. I guess I don't have it. I used to have one here, just waiting for you guys. Oh, here it is. So this is the old Intel chip. Before they used to rise these little pins, and the hardest thing was that if you bent them, you mess up the whole thing, and you got to purchase them. Now they don't have that. They have bearings. That's what they are. Bearings. I'm sorry. They're not they're not like this, like the old school. I'm gonna see if I can put a camera closer to you guys and check it out. You know, I'm sorry about the zoom in, but I'm using a Canon for that one, and it's supposed to be a real sharp printer, a sharp. Let me see if I could zoom in some more, at least, so you guys can see. There, that's a little bit better too. So this is an old Intel, of course. It's all coated in gold because very good conductor. You know, same thing, the bearings in here. Now, I'll tell you something. I had a lot of these. I had like maybe 20 of these because I was gonna, I was into the gold market where you're gonna extract it to get the gold out of these suckers. Don't do it. I've done it, and it's just a waste of money and time. So the whole thing was that you mix these chemical reactions and you dip these in there. I'm sorry I hit the camera. You dip this stuff in there and you let it, you know, soak up overnight, and then it sheds all the gold out of all the coating that it has. And then at the end you have to mix that and put in a container where you use a coffee filter and you transfer it. And then after the coffee filter, you pretty much, you know, have to get the gold out. And at the end, you're left with less than a gram, or not even a gram sometimes, you know. And it was very difficult to do it. It was time consuming. It was a lot of a process. The process, and if you mess up, there's a lot of chemicals involved. I tried it. I'm not gonna do it again, and it's a failed thing. I mean, this big old Mexican nerd, don't try that shit, you know. Anyways, this is the old school. And they changed this a couple years ago. They changed it, maybe in the early 90s is when I started seeing when they had the big old fat one, the black one, the Intel 2 chip. It used to be like a big old cartridge, like a Nintendo cartridge. It was as big as this. I actually have one, not here in hand. I have some old school Intels, you know, and they had a nice, beautiful picture, and it was a big old eyesore they used to take, and it was black, exactly like this. So I opened it up, and inside they had this shit. It was just this. But they gave you a plastic so you won't F with it, you know, inside of it. And it's really neat. But now they have these bearings in there, you know. It's really neat too. But I don't want to F with it right now until I'm ready to put it in place, you know. And like I said, I don't like to touch the stuff in there. But there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually dropped some thermal paste in there by accident. And I cleaned it out. And it was for the i9, the one I built, the big monstrosity, and that was an expensive chip. The chip itself was over almost $1,000, the CPU, and that was the i9. And I did drop some thermal paste, and I was able to wipe it, and I used a cotton to take it off, and I was very thorough about that shit. I was sweating it, and I prayed to Jesus, little Job, Lord Jesus, please turn on, and that thing came on, man. I was scared because something like that, I don't like to make mistakes, and for some reason I ended up taking a fan, and it had thermal paste that it fell on it, and that was my biggest mistake. So when you're ever gonna work with something like that, just make sure that you are aware of what you're gonna do. So this is part of the whole build that I'm gonna do, and I'm happy that this came with this, man. I am thrilled with that. Let me put it back together, man, before you know what, this made my day. And tomorrow, you know what? Tomorrow I might even start the build on this. You know, I'm missing one last piece, which is the tower. But I think I'm going to place everything on a freaking board and just put it ready to go. And you guys can see it turn on. And I think that I'll do that. I have the memory. I have an existing memory. I'm actually taking memory off an old system. It's DDR4. It's on 2600 megahertz on the memory. It's the cheapest. There's 22. I was going to get a 22, but they're expensive. They're getting expensive. Memory is going up to, I mean, if you're trying to buy the 2600 bucks, it was almost 60-70 bucks, I believe, and that was a cheap brand. I'm buying a cheap brand. I'm not going all crazy on this one. I'm going all cheap. Ah, man, I put the box in the box and didn't put this thing in. Now they did give you a nice little cute little sticker. It says My Little Pony Rising. That's what it says. Oh my god. Oh, I have this Pokemon card. You guys gotta collect them all. Ah, the stickers. You know, companies think that you're gonna put. I don't like to brag about the other companies. I don't put their logos anywhere. I try to be as discreet as possible, but I do like the lights. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like the freaking lights. Put in the Christmas lights. Now, let me put my Intel chip in here, and let's bring in the piece of resistance that I got today. All right. Ah, this came on the mail today. and it was a good buy. Original price, we're talking $75. All right, original price. I bought this for $43, so I saved myself $30. All right, somewhere around $30, you know. But delivery and all that shit, you still end up okay. $25 I will save. You know, they do have them on sale still. They're going on. It's the second generation, not the first generation of it. So you guys want me to open it up? You guys probably recognize this one, man. Let me bring something up right now. This one's the G502. The G502. Let's open it up and see what you get on this box, all right? This is a mouse that I have the original one, but it kind of broke in pieces. But this is a second generation, so I wanted to get the new one. There's much more features on the actual, not the hardware, but the actual software had changed. So we're going to go ahead and open it up. And this is part of the review, guys, that I'm doing about the mouse setting. So bear with me. I still have to finish the videos, and there's so much reviews to do and so much time I have to do it on, you know. So I'm trying to be quick with them, but I want to be thorough and give you guys the right information too, you know. I'm working on everything, and it's hard when you're trying to install every single mouse on one machine. You got to remove everything, the software. You don't have to, but it's best if you do, so you don't have any conflicts with it. Damn, I can't even open. I don't even mind my blade. Oh, you know what? I do have a blade. I have a Ninja Star here. Look at that. Look at that shit. Look at that. It's crazy, huh? You don't buy this in California no more. My grandma made this. It's a good weapon. It comes with two of them, actually. You could throw them in, you know, I don't know. Last time I threw this, it wasn't good. So let's put this on the side. I know this is an overkill. You get in a gunfight like that, you're going to take some guys on? Look at this. It's crazy, huh? It's like, just say I'm local? Look at that. It's a spinner for all you kids out there. Look at that. Just don't put it on your mouths. That's crazy. It's a crazy knife, man. And I do have one here. I always keep it here just in case, you know, something happens. In case my dog gives me the word, hey, he goes like this, and he goes like, if something happened, he gives me a sign, I'm there. I'm there, homies. Anyways, we'll put that Ninja Star somewhere else, and we'll start with this, man. I just want to say, man, to legit, to quit, hey, you're the man. Every time you come on here, I really appreciate you, man. I mean, I'm not asking for donation, but I love it, dude. It's like, I thank you guys for something like that, man. That is awesome, man. You know, I'm doing this because of the love that I have for these equipment and the stuff. And before, it was something I used to want to do for a long time, but it wasn't in me. And to stand in cameras and shit like that, it was a little difficult. But you know what? I do it all the time now, and it's not natural still, but I get shocked when I see stuff like that. I was like, you know what? I thank you, brother. I really thank you, brother, for that. You know, it makes me want to continue on with stuff like this. You know, it might not be a lot, but it's just something that motivates me. Honestly, it motivates me. So we're going to open this one for the last part of it. We're throwing ourselves way off from the computer build, but I wanted to show you guys what arrived here, so I don't have to make another video on it, you know? And just let you guys know, if you guys don't have it, maybe you could buy something like this, or it might be working out for you. Now, just to let you know, this is not a wireless one. I don't prefer wireless to the wires because I had issues with this. So we're going to talk about it in the next, and I don't want to spoil it. I'm just going to go straight to the source. Now here, they give you the cable. It's all freaking in there. All right. So this is the mouse. It is a freaking stealth fighter mouse, you know? And compared to other ones, this is pretty cool. I like this part. Now this part, it actually slows down the actual cursor here. Now one thing I really like about this mouse is that it has a different features. It has two arrows here to left and right. Now one of the features I love about it is like if you're going to play PUBG, you can lean left or you can lean right on the mouse itself. So be careful, because if you do program with it, you'll probably find yourself doing this shit all the time where you're trying to shoot the guy, you know. So it's very sensitive, or I wouldn't recommend it, but it's something that I want to see it use. So left and right, it has those features on the actual mouse. So if that's one thing I was like, okay, that's pretty little unique, you know. It's a little tilting devices that it has. I like that. That's why they have these two little little arrows pointing out different ways. Now there's a couple of things that you can do. That you can slow down your cursors here through here. If this is a sniper button. If you guys are not familiar with a sniper, I was not familiar with a sniper button. I was living under a freaking rock, right? I didn't know about a sniper button until a couple weeks ago, when somebody told me exactly what that button was for. And I have all these mouses that had that freaking button that wasn't taking advantage of it. Well, what it does, a lot of people use it for sniping, you know. They push that button and it slows down the cursor. That means your mouse is not going to go everywhere. It just stays, it's so tender to move, you know, that you stay fixated on that one target. And as soon as you're done, you can move the mouse anywhere you want, or the target itself, you know. So that's something that a lot of people are like, how the hell did they get that shot in there? It's because they're using that stupid button, you know. And I know you guys probably know this stuff, and I don't, but you know, I'm learning as we go along. I'm a gamer, but I didn't know that it exists. I'm learning something new. This was a shock to me. I was like, what? When did this happen? You know, it's just like crazy shit. Anyways, let's continue on with this. This is a really nice little setup of a mouse. It's all very durable, you know. This is all covered in nylon. Every mouse is coming with nylon, so it's nothing fancy. It's not wireless, it's wire. And on the bottom of it, it's a little secret here. So on the bottom of it, there's a little a detaching. Let me see if I could do it. Oh yeah, here it is. There it is. I think it's somewhere in here. There it is. There it is. See that? Now on back of it, this is a crazy mouse, because there's a lot of mouse out there that does the similar stuff, but they want to make it fancy. You know, they're like, oh, Logitech. Oh, we sponsor Shroud and so on. So now what you do is you get 3.5 ounces a piece of weights, and this is going to be probably harder to open than the other actual mouse. And they give you the weights in here, so you could actually manage your weights on the back of it. On the mouse itself, you could manage it in different directions. If you want to make it heavier, you could add more weights. If you wanted to make it lighter, you could add less weights. It's up to you, you know. Different, and they sell different weight sizes too, but they're a little longer and they might not fit. So everything's supposed to fit in puzzles here. So all pieces fit, and each one is considered, like I said, 3.6 gram a piece, right? 3.6 grams a piece. Now, this is weight distribution. So if you have a weak hand, or you're not working out, or something's happened to you, or maybe you have a disability. You know, a lot of people have this emotion that we have. In fact, there's people that exist in the world that they're missing a piece of bone, and I didn't even know this shit until a couple of years ago. I'm not gonna say personal, but somebody I know, I didn't even know they can do this. They could do that, and it's basic. But there's people out there that might have a disability, and maybe the mouse might be for you. Either this mouse or some other ass crooked ass mouse, like this cheap old Chinese made knockoff. This is a big old huge monster. I'm gonna bring this shit up all the time because it's funny. It's the funniest shit I ever seen from China, you know? It's crazy. That was $10, $6 mouse right there. Now the weight distribution, it depends on the user that wants to use it, you know. I pretty much want to test it out without the weights first before I start adding all this fancy stuff. In fact, Logitech gives you little cases all the time for all these hardware that they have, but it's really neat. They keep everything neat. That's why they're so expensive too sometimes, you know. And this mouse was on sale. It's still on sale on Amazon. I'm not trying to advertise anybody, but I was gonna purchase it for $70 at Fry's and Best Buys. They have it for 74, 75. This exact mouse, it's for what, $40, $30 in Amazon right now. And it might be a temporary time, but it's something that you want to take a look at. Now, there's a crazy amount of buttons in here. 1, 2, 3, 4 with this one, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then down. I mean, there's 11 buttons that I know of in here with the sniper. I didn't count the sniper. 11 buttons so far. Now on my internal review on this thing, the whole shebang on this review, I'm gonna put every detail in here, exactly how many mouse clicks you can move around. I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna do a little in-depth on the software that it comes with too, because the application itself is a little different. You could program this to change functions into different games, different modes. So if you're playing Fortnite, you could change it on your software or on the button too to change. And if you're playing to PUBG, you want to change your button settings, so you can also change it. You know, every mouse out there available is coming out with this, so you guys are familiar with it, but not a lot of people know about it. Like the sniper button, you know. I'm not gonna blame you guys. I know I was part of it, but anyways, we're gonna conclude the show like this. Just wanted to bring this kind of stuff to you guys and let you guys know. We're gonna start the build. I might start it tomorrow. I'm thinking about tomorrow. If Wednesday looks good. If I'm missing one last piece, I might start it on an old desktop right now, because I don't have another tower I can use for now. Or if I complete the pieces, I'm gonna build the stuff. Maybe you guys will see it step by step, because I do want to build something from scratch, but at the same time I want to keep it durable and simple to move. And I would like to see make it maybe a see-through box, maybe gluing it here together, putting it on place. It might not be a bad idea. So I might cut the pieces prior to the show, and we'll put it together. You know, we can do that. I'll drill the holes and all that stuff, have everything ready, and you guys could be here watching it step by step. I do have to take a lot of measurements and make sure that they fit in the motherboard before I actually build the box. But I'm thinking about it, or tomorrow I'm just gonna fly down, just put the motherboard on a piece of box and just run it from there, or an old tower probably. So it depends on the type of the work, because when I think about it, I get lazy. I'm like, oh man, I don't know how to do the damn work of cutting out, removing all these tools, getting them out, and then making a big ass mess and then putting it back together. I don't know. I think about these things, and sometimes I say it, but then I don't want to do it. So if you guys, you know what, I really appreciate you guys coming down and checking out the show and seeing some of the new stuff that I brought in here. It might not be new for some of the users, some of the viewers, and it might not be for everybody, but I mean, I'm trying to, like I say, educate some sort of people out there that need some, you know, maybe some support on some of this stuff, you know, because this equipment, it's not cheap. It's not, and it's not easy to come by sometimes, especially the motherboard. Like I said, it was probably the last one I had, and I was able to get that one. And tonight I'm gonna publish a couple of videos. I'm not gonna play tonight. I've been, you know, staying away from it because I feel like I have to decompress from PUBG. Even though they have new weapons right now, there's a new weapon called, I think it's the Cobra, I believe it is. There's a couple new weapons, so I've been trying to lean to keep away from it, but sometimes I do want to go back into it. And maybe tonight will be the night. If somebody changes my mind and say, hey, base call or Descent calls me and say, hey, or texts me and says, hey, come on down, I will definitely come down and play with you guys. But if not, I might just chill tonight and relax and start working on editing those videos and bringing them out to you guys for new content. I got new tools that I got to show you guys too also, and I'm going to try to publish them as fast as I can. But I just want to appreciate you guys for coming down and checking out the show, and we'll probably start the build tomorrow. I'm going to leave all this equipment out tomorrow, and around the same time, around 8:30, 8 o'clock, we'll start somewhere around there. I normally don't put a schedule because it's hard for me. You know, I do have kids, so I got to put them to sleep. I got to do their homework, and depending on the day, the type of day I have, you know, and spend some time with them, then I'll spend some time with you guys. So you guys are pretty much like my kids. That's the same kind of situation. So tonight, you know what? I'm going to take this inside, and we're going to test this sucker out. I don't even know why I put it in the damn box, man. I was supposed to take it out of the box and take it out and test it out without the weights. I don't like the weights, so we're gonna do it without the weights and see how well it works. And if it works very well, I'll let you guys know on the review, because it's something I wanted to use today. Other than that, I'm your host, Prophet74, and I want to appreciate all of you guys, and thank you to Too Legit to Quit for that donation. I really appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. And that guy's my #1 client, to him, and I can't forget, of course, you know, Lone Star. Good loving, brother. Good loving, man. Thank you, guys. thank you guys for the dedication of coming back to the show, and hopefully I can entertain you and give you some information. And this big old Mexican nerd has a lot of info, but he might not give you in the right language, but he'll point the way. Anyways, we're gonna call it a night, guys. Good night. See you guys later.